the East Coast, which I find a little bit more juicy with a better texture than the Alaskan halibut that has a firmer texture. On the East Coast, it's a very silky texture, creamy, and the cut that in a fish that I like the most is certainly the one just behind the head, the top part of the fillet.
Nice. Do you have a favorite restaurant in San Francisco?
Well, my dear friend has Aqua. And then I have a lot of restaurants I like too. I'm very, very loyal to the friendship that we have.
Where are you going tonight?
I don't know yet, but I am supposed to go somewhere.
We're supposed to go. We had another interview somewhere on Chestnut Street. What's it called?
Layola.
Yeah. Sure. Which I haven't been to, so I couldn't tell him.
Hey, yeah. We all, a couple of the chef cuts in here. We all work down the street at Encanto. Chris, he was telling us not to make sure you don't come in tonight. No. Yeah.
I'll go late.
Well, we were at Google all day today, going through all the different cafes and restaurants that they have, and with all the chefs. So that was quite an experience too.
I'm sure. Can you tell us a little bit about moving to America from France and what the transition was like for you to come to the big city?
I wanted to travel. I wanted to get out of France. I was a bit tired of Paris. And at the time it was very challenging because in France we were working for basically peanuts, and we were humiliated all day long. I mean, they were insulting us, beating us. I was like, I need to get out of here. So I asked Joël Robuchon, I asked him if he could find me a job somewhere and say, where do you want to go? So I suggested Brazil, and he was totally against it. He said to me, I'm not sending you on vacation. So. There was no Brazil. And then I asked him if he could send me to Spain, and the fact that I grew up in a tiny country called Andorra, which is in between France and Spain, and we speak Catalan and Spanish there, he thought was too close from home. So finally I asked him, I said, well, basically, where do you want me to go? And he suggested the US, and he's the one who found me the job at Jean-Louis Paladin. So I came like that with basically my suitcase and very little English to Washington. And that was
very hard.
It was very hard because I thought Jean-Louis Paladin would speak French to me, but he spoke broken French English. But I obviously learned quickly the English because I had to survive. Yes?
Could you talk about some of the surprises you may have had when you moved from being chef to chef owner of a restaurant, and what you didn't expect?
I'm not sure I was surprised because I started at Le Bernardin in 1991 as a chef de cuisine, and then when Gilbert Lecoste passed away in '94, I replaced him and took much more responsibilities in the restaurant. But I was already in place, and for me the transition was, I mean, it was a painful experience emotionally because he became a dear friend. But technically, I was basically doing the same in terms of managing the financial aspect of the kitchen and creating the menu for the restaurant and being there, the executive of the kitchen. So I didn't really have surprises. However, from dark hair I went to black to white overnight. But I don't know. I find it challenging to deal with the finance much more than dealing with the creativity and the management purely technically of the team. But I enjoy it I enjoy it too.
Yeah, you mentioned in the intro that you're really into the business part now, and
yes, well,
doing much more of that.
I think I see a lot of chefs here, and as chefs we want to be creative and we want to be artistic, but the reality is that we have to deal with the finance because we have to be sustainable. If not, you close the door and then you're artistic at home and you cook for the family. And I actually love the financial aspect of the restaurant and dealing with that, because you can see it as a challenge or you can see it as opportunities to invest and do things in a better way. So I see it like that. Yes.
Well, this is actually an amazing coincidence because I work under Laurent at Aqua, and I'm actually going to your restaurant.
So you will repeat that to him, I say.
Yeah. I work with Pierre Arbolino, right? But I'm actually going to your restaurant on the 22nd, which I'm really excited for. I just stopped in here to buy a gift. So
Please come in.
My question would be, when you're developing new dishes with your cooks, what are some of the things that you really look for, and how do you pick apart that dish? What are the main aspects that you're looking for when you're doing that?
Well, the process starts much further than the interaction with the team. When I travel and when I'm visiting markets, when I'm eating, I absorb information and I get inspired by the surrounding. And then what I do is that I write ideas on pieces of paper, and I think in a book somewhere we have a page with full of graffitis on it. And most of the time those notes don't make really any kind of sense, but it's a source of inspiration. And then I edit those notes, and I'm trying to find that page. I'll find it.
Well, I short for Christmas, so hope they're there.
From those notes, I work in a collegial way with the sous chefs, which we do that now for 2 years. Before it was very personal. I was not sharing the creative aspect of the cooking with them. I don't find it. But now we have meetings and we discuss the ideas, and they bring their own ideas. And then what we do, we try combinations, not necessarily like finished recipes, but combinations. So sometimes it's very crazy, and sometimes it's more classic. And it's from those ideas we meet again, we taste, we meet again, and then we try to take a direction with it. And it's a very, very long process. It's like a funnel where suddenly we edit, and at the end, from all the notes that I took and the ideas, we discard probably 90% and keep 10%. We create those dishes, we give them to friends and to ourselves, and we taste. And if we're very happy with it, finally they go into the menu. And that's the way we work for creativity.
Was it hard to give up some of that control?
Well, you know, chefs have ego. So
I know that very well.
It was hard. At the same time, it gave me a second wind, because you know, I mean, when you create for a year, you have the luck of the beginner. But when you create for more than 10 or 15 years, at one point you need to be re-energized, and the interaction with the team and with also some of my sous chefs are very young. They bring some new ideas. They have understood modern techniques better than I would do, and we integrate all that. So for me, it was a bit difficult in the beginning, but at the same time, it really brought a very strong wind behind the creative force. Yes.
So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, in the last decade, it seems like there's just been an expansion of creativity in the restaurant business and food. And how do you keep up with that? Constantly, the line is always getting pushed back further and further.
Yes. You eat a lot.